not an easy energy, that's for sure, but you guys have a strong connection. You guys have a strong magnetic attraction, rather, okay? And that attraction, to me, can definitely stimulate, not talk about stimulation in the sense, but you guys both get each other in a way that honestly can overcome a lot of personal situations, a lot of personal struggles, and honestly become, a better version of yourselves, if that makes sense. This relationship has a strong magnetic connection. So let's see how. A magnetic attraction. So the mind space, right? We're looking at the mind space here. These two cards on the very top. Pick the side that resonates with you guys the most. We're going to be starting here on the right side here, and this person's got the Eight of Pentacles. And this person is kind of, when they're thinking about this relationship, they're thinking about this as progress and work in progress. Not in a bad way, but they're focused, they're diligent, they're willing to do what needs to be done to get to what they want, right? And not in like a Five of Swords kind of way, like ruthlessness, but like they're working toward it. They're, they understand that this is going to take time and effort. They're going to have to invest in the, in this relationship. So I see the Eight of Pentacles coming in here, like, this is from this person, really focused on building something that is substantial, but building something that honestly can, really, work on building a foundation between you and this person, right? Really building a strong bond with you and this individual. This person is really focused on that. Now, the other person here has got Temperance. So this is moderation in all things. They're not, I think this person really does want to delve into the other person. Like, they really feel that attraction. They really feel that urge to be with them, or this person really doesn't, is a little bit more hesitant, right? Where they could spend all the time alone, like they are showing here with the Nine of Pentacles. They're trying to keep things in moderation. They're not trying to overdo things with the relationship. They're not trying to go overboard with the relationship. They're not trying to go overboard with certain topics or certain areas, right? I feel like this person does want to kind of extend their time with this individual, because where you guys, what brought you two together was the Four of Swords, which was a time of reflection, rest, non-action. So I feel like there is, this moderation where you guys are kind of keeping things, or whoever this is keeping things kind of in a balanced fashion, not doing too much of anything, and just kind of keeping things harmonious and cool. At the same time, then, they're doing their 50%. You know what I mean? This person's not delving over in the other person's 50. They're just kind of focusing on what they need to do, focusing on what their responsibilities are and the role of the relationship. And that's it, Whether it means friendships, reaching out, talking sometimes, they're just handling their situation the best way that they know how, with a balanced attitude. Now, what they're showing here, right? This is the body plane. This is the plane of the physical plane. That's what I call it. The Nine of Pentacles would talk about being alone, but not necessarily in the sense of like, trying to be by yourself like the hermit, but more of like finding yourself in a gilded cage by yourself, bored out of your mind. And I feel like this person is completely bored. They want something new, something fresh. They know their worth. They know their value. They know what they're capable of doing. They know that they definitely can handle and can create whatever they want. They're very independent and they're very, self-aware as like this, but they're still bored. They're still stuck in a gilded cage. And I think they're a gilded cage in the sense of like being comfortable, not really wanting to leave because they know that it's predictable, it's safe, it doesn't like spring on them some sort of inconsistencies that could eventually hurt them. Right, so the moderation here comes from this person being okay with being single, right? Just honestly taking that one foot into that water and seeing how it is, but at the same time pulling it back to kind of analyze and figure it out. But this person is coming outside of a comfort zone because I think they came from a place of healing, right? Too. This person came from a place of healing and overcoming some difficult stuff, but they're not done with this difficulty because they're still here with the Nine of Pentacles. Now, with the other person, they have the Eight of Cups. So they're definitely dissatisfied with the situation, not happy with how things have been. Or they're not necessarily mad or sad. They're just not interested in how things used to be. They're ready to go out after what they want. That's why they have the Eight of Pentacles here. This is something that they're working hard towards. And I feel like they're following their heart right now. They're not looking at what they have to settle with, what they have to deal with. They're working on choosing what their heart wants. They're working on listening to what their heart is telling them and what their heart is leading them. Because right now, I feel like, of course, where they had to take some time out to reevaluate with the Four of Swords here, right? They have gotten to the point where they've realized that maybe the situation that they were in previously wasn't really satisfying to them. So now they're looking at their heart. I think this situation isn't that they're not satisfied with how this is. I think they're more of like going after what their heart wants. They're really focusing on what they feel and what their heart is telling them versus what they're willing to, what's being presented to them and what they believe that they should settle with, but they obviously choose not to, right? So this person's listening to their heart here. I really feel like they are, because they see this as a work in progress. They see this as growth and working very diligently and building something substantial, something of great value to them. And it does go by what, they may act like they don't maybe like certain things, or they may be, dismissive, but they're just following their heart here. I think they're totally following their heart here. And the reason why this person has these two cards in their placements like this is because of the Five of Wands. Now, the Five of Wands does show that there's turmoil, that there's conflict, that there's, a lot of changes, especially behavioral ones. But the thing is that the Five of Wands is intense challenges that are temporary. They don't last very long. And I feel like they've gone through a series of changes and challenges and stuff, very intense and very, up in arms, if that makes sense. Like, they were definitely engaged in some of this turmoil, and a lot of this turmoil could have been even their own internally, right? They're going through not arguments, but changes of opinion, changes of stuff, like wanting to purge and be who they are, but they have the constrictions of society telling them, or their relationship and the dynamic of their relationship, and how they were or who they were in that relationship confining them. So there's a lot of stuff that can happen with that Five of Wands, but they went through a serious amount of change here, which is why they're going after what they want to do, or going after what their heart wants, versus settling for anything that doesn't really satisfy them, right? So the Eight of Cups can also indicate emotional drainage. So they may be seeming like they're emotionally drained, but they can't give anything to the situation the way it is. So I think they've given them the best that they could. They're working hard. They're still willing to work their butt off. But at the same time, with this Eight of Cups, they can't give much to it anymore. They can't do anything further. They're doing the best that they can right now. And if it's not good enough, they're going to have to focus on what they need to do. They're focusing on what their heart is. They can't give more to the situation, especially if this person is going to remain in a gilded cage and not open up. Right? Because the challenge is the Page of Cups. Being open, being emotionally open, communicating emotionally here, right? Communicating heart to heart, having heart to heart conversations, right? And if this person's not going to be open to it, then this person can't give more to the situation, because that, it takes two to tango, and I think this person realizes that. So they're torn from either, because they're emotionally, drained from the situation. They can't give anything to the situation any further. They can't give any more love, any more, emotional, turmoil to the situation, because they're doing the best that they can, right? They still see the potential for great happiness here. They're still working hard toward it. But as far as them putting anything into the relationship, there's not much they can do, especially if how everything is come up is roadblock. Now, the other person, the reason why they have Temperance and the Nine of Pentacles here is because of the Nine of Swords. Now, this is a spiritual plane. This gives us a bit of background as to why why this person's presenting themselves the way they present themselves, as the Nine of Pentacles, kind of a loner, in a gilded cage, not opening up, or completely bored. And the Temperance card here as the way, like, they're keeping things in moderation. They're not doing excess of anything. They're just kind of keeping things balanced. And it's because of the Nine of Swords. And it shows that they're stressed out and they have a lot of doubts. They don't trust themselves as much as they should be. So that's why they're kind of taking things in stride, because they're not trusting of themselves. They don't trust the situation. They don't really see the situation as clearly as they should have, because they're all in their mind. They're only focusing on what their mind is, and what their mind is telling them. And this goes all the way back to the Devil. Excuse me, not the Devil. The Death card here that's in your underlying energy. Right? Like, this is releasing of the old. This is releasing of the past disappointments, pains, and releasing not just, forgiving the situation, but it's also releasing old patterns, behaviors, and thought processes, and that honestly cause situations to stay stagnant. Because what's before the death card, the Hanged Man? This is releasing perspectives that no longer serve. So this person's having to break free from a lot of that by taking their time with the relationship, by doing what they can do. They're doing the best that they can. Obviously, there's something that's attracting the both of you guys, and it's very clear. Like, this person's clearly attracted because they're willing to work on it, and this person's taking their time, even though they have doubts, even though they're still having a hard time reaching out of their comfort zone and taking the steps needed to build a solid relationship with this person, with both of you guys, whatever who this is, right? They're releasing stuff, and like the same person here of death, for this person here with the Eight of Cups, letting things go and embracing a new, making space for something new here, like the Eight of Cups would suggest, right? Being emotionally drained, can't do anything with the situations, therefore they have to look for what their heart wants, which is obviously letting go of the things that they can no longer entertain, that don't serve them anyway. This person's having to do the same thing. So the communication part is a definite thing here. That's what I see. Page of Cups is definitely saying that there is a need for communication, but heart-to-heart communication, but being true to the heart, being true to yourself, and also listening to your intuition, right? It's growing spiritually. Because I think this person is so absorbed in the doubt that they can't really, that they are trying their best with taking things in moderation. Not spending too much time talking, not spending too much time working, not spending too much time lounging around doing nothing. They're trying to find a harmonious balance in their own lives to get things moving in a healthy pace, right? To get things, healing, right? To get the healing started. Because Page of Cups is a healing card too. But it starts by recognizing what the doubts are. And I feel like that's the challenge, really. It's communicating, having a heart-to-heart conversation, and moving in a direction where you guys can start to develop emotionally together, instead of, having a dream and not having it pursued. It's hard, right? It's really, really difficult. That's why I said, when I was pulling these readings, this reading here, I can already sense the difficulty. This person is like racking their brain here. Gee whiz. Alright, then fine. Treasure your loved ones. It's important to love others deeply. It's a card that came out for you guys. And honestly, with that card there, it's like, the best thing that you can do is love yourself and love others, right? Especially when they're not in a situation or position to be able to give that love to you. Love without condition is the biggest message I'm getting with the Treasure Your Loved Ones. Because no matter what's going on, no matter what they're going through, if you believe that they are yours and you still believe that this is something that you're willing to work with, then it's important to share, to give them love without sort of any ties or attachments to it. And I know we may want something more from them. We may want a relationship. We may want to settle down with this person. But the best thing that they can give us right now is what they can give, right? Not that, it feels, not that it's what we deserve, but it's what they can give at this moment. And I think it takes patience, it takes time. I feel like this person here, if this is the person that's having a hard time with working within themselves, dealing with inner turmoil and feeling emotionally drained from a situation, that honestly is calling for them to change their perspective, to make room, to make space for something new, for their heart's desire. And this person here is just being patient, and they're anxious and anxiety, because either way, I could see this going either way, right? This person's willing to put in the work. They see this as a lot of work. They see this relationship as something that they have to be concentrated on and really focused on, but they don't know what they want. They don't know if this is something that they desire. They just know what they don't want, And it may not be that this is what the relationship showed them. This is how they're presenting themselves. They know what they don't want, so they're going after their heart's desire right now because they got a lot of inner turmoil. At the same time, too, this person could be seeing this person is alone, not because they want to be, but they are having to be patient right now, but they have a lot of anxieties and stress because they don't know how things are going to work out, right? They don't know how everything's going to work out, but they have to have faith that everything's going to be fine. They have to make room, because what they're doing here is that they're putting, where they can have a beautiful relationship, they have the space filled with anxieties, doubts, uncertainty, right? But not seeing the situation as they should see. And right now, there is no information. Right now, there is nothing coming back. That is not saying anything. It doesn't mean that there's nothing growing. It's stagnation at this moment. There's nothing happening. It's just complete silence. But everybody needs to take this time that's silent to look within themselves and not fill it with doubts, because there's nothing else to fill it with. If nothing's happening, nothing's happening. That means nothing is happening. That means there's no need for doubt, because you don't know. This person, at the end of the day, with this Nine of Swords, they just don't know. And that's okay. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to know the situation. You don't have to guess. Guessing is what gets you in the trap and makes you it has you manifesting the things that you don't want to have that space in. If you believe there's an attraction between you and this person, you believe there's a tie, then you have to just believe it and love them from a distance, and that's it. Don't fill it with doubt. Don't fill it with anxieties. Don't fill it with anything else, especially if you don't have any information. Just keep doing you, keep focusing on you, keep doing the best that you can, keep tending to have patience. Divine timing is at work here when the temperance comes up.